She came in at 2 in the morning like a cat burglar, easing the door shut and padding through the hallway with her shoes in her hand. I was awake. Hard not to be when your wife has started treating bedtime like a rotating shift. I watched her silhouette hover at the bedroom door, listening for breath that sounded like sleep. I kept mine even. She slid into the bathroom, water ran, toothbrush tapped porcelain. When she lay down, she rolled to the edge, facing the window. No hand on my shoulder. Just the quiet of someone who didn't want to be noticed in her own house. In the morning, she brewed coffee and poured 1 cup. Hers. She spotted me at the table and blinked, surprised I existed. Didn't hear you get in, I told her. Long day, Jenna said, eyes on her phone. Back-to-back deadlines. I'm fried. If I'd known where it was headed, I'd have stopped being polite a week earlier. I still played the patient husband. I told myself seasons like this happen. People grind. People recover. I made dinner, packed her lunches, picked up her dry cleaning, put gas in her car. She gave me a tired smile on Tuesdays and a shoulder squeeze on Thursdays. By the next weekend, the squeeze was gone. The first Friday, I offered a rescue plan. Let's drive to the lake tomorrow, I said, flipping eggs without breaking yolks. Bring sandwiches. Phone's off. She leaned against the counter, scrolling. I can't. We're short-staffed. Ryan's throwing me 2 projects at once. It's not optional. Her boss, Ryan. I knew him from holiday parties. Jenna's best friend, Emily's husband. 2 years ago, he'd gotten Jenna a spot at his firm when her old company folded. Good deed. I respected it. Then tonight, I tried. Movie at home. No cooking. I'll order something sensible. You divide the couch with me. I'm not in the mood for anything, she said. Just stop planning things, Mark. It adds pressure. Pressure is me offering you tie and a blanket? She folded her arms. You take it personal when I'm tired. Please don't. I stabbed my fork into my plate. I take it personal when my wife treats me like background noise. Her mouth twitched. This is what I mean. You make it about you. I'm drowning at work, and now I have to comfort you. Or, I said, you could meet me halfway. She shook her head, grabbed keys, and left her plate untouched. The door shut, and I sat in a kitchen that smelled like eggs nobody ate. That night she texted at 9, running late. At 10, don't wait up. At 1, sorry. At 2, I heard the deadbolt again. I stayed in bed. My phone face down on the nightstand. The distance wasn't subtle anymore. It had a schedule. Saturday morning, I tried a different lane. I'm going to the gym, I told her, lacing shoes. After that, I'll run errands. What do you need? Nothing, she said, already dressed for work. Please don't hover. Hover? I buy groceries, and you call it air support. She exhaled hard. I'm saying I need space. Energy is finite. Then say that, not stop planning things. Words matter. She grabbed her bag. I'll be late. I noticed, I replied. Every night this week taught me. She paused at the door like she wanted to add something generous, then chose not to. When the door clicked, I worked through a plan. I could keep playing the soft partner and let this rot set in. Or I could take initiative before resentment made my bones ache. So I changed our calendar. I pulled shared date nights off and blocked my Saturdays. Shop, gym, car work at Nate's garage, dinner with the guys. I shifted money too, split our checking into household and personal. Rent and utilities on autopay, the rest separated. No press release, no drama, just new logistics. She'd feel the shape change. When she noticed, she called from the office. What's with the calendar? Jenna asked. Clarity, I said. I'm not leaving empty squares waiting for last-minute cancels. I plan my time, you plan yours. Passive-aggressive much? It's not passive, I replied. Just aggressive scheduling. I don't like this. I don't like eating alone 3 nights out of 5. Here we are. She hung up without a goodbye. The next morning, I found a sticky note on the fridge. Thanks for the groceries. She had added a heart. That was her idea of a bandage. It stuck for about 12 hours. By midweek, she added sarcasm to the toolkit. At dinner. Mine. She poked at a salad and said, you know, if you put this attention into your business instead of coddling me, maybe you'd double your clients. Appreciate the coaching from someone who hasn't been home before midnight since last month. That's what adult careers look like. Yeah. I leaned back. Adult marriages look like showing up. She laughed once. Here we go. I'm not fighting, I said. I'm calibrating. Sounds like a lecture. Sounds like boundaries, I answered. Which you don't get to call a lecture because you're bored. She pushed the bowl away. I'm tired. You're also disrespectful, I said. Both can be true. She rolled her eyes and walked away. That night, the couch felt like a better bed. I took it on purpose. A boundary with cushions. 2 weeks of this nonsense, and my patience had stretched thin enough to see through. Jenna kept saying she was exhausted. She kept rolling in at absurd hours. I still gave her the benefit of the doubt, until exhausted started to sound like a password to shut me up. Nate noticed the drag on me at the garage. You look like you've been living on gas station hot dogs, he said, wiping his hands with a rag. Quality cuisine, I told him. Chef's special, disappointment. Trouble at home? Let's call it misaligned expectations. You're too calm, he said. Either you know something, or you're plotting something. Both, I said. I'm done asking. I'm switching to verification. I knew Jenna's habits. She left her phone face down at dinner, but she wasn't a security hawk. I'd set up location sharing back when we got new phones, mutual and forgotten. I hadn't checked it in years. I opened it that night and watched a dot. It hovered at her office building, then inched to the lot, then back inside. 11 became midnight became 1. I hated that I felt my heart steady when the phone confirmed she was where she said. That alone said enough about our erosion. By the next week, checking the dot had become a ritual I disliked. At dinner, office. At 10, still office. At 1, still office. She came home looking like someone who'd been in front of a screen and under fluorescent lights. I wanted to complain and didn't. I took initiative elsewhere. I moved to the guest room for sleep consistency and told her straight. Until our schedules line up again, I'm in the guest room, I said, standing in the hallway with a pillow under my arm. You're coming in and out like a shift change, and I need rest. That's dramatic, she said. It's adult, I answered. Business hours expectations in a house. You're punishing me. No, I said. I'm conserving myself. She went quiet. The first illusion came the next day. Pancakes. Real ones, not from a box. She stood there in a t-shirt, hair tied up, skillet going, the smell filling the house. I'm sorry, she said without the usual defensiveness. I know I've been distant. I don't want us to be like roommates. Then don't act like one, I told her, but softer. I appreciate the breakfast. I'll try to get home earlier, she said. This week is tight. After that it loosens. Good, I said. I'm not asking for fireworks. Just basic respect. She nodded. We ate without bickering. I let my shoulders drop a little. She kissed my cheek on her way out the door. For a day and a half, she texted midday. Memes, a quick, thinking of you. Then Wednesday reappeared with a shrug and a missing person act. At 9 that night, I checked the dot. Office. 10. Office. 10:30, the dot moved. Not toward our side of town. Toward the river. It stopped at a restaurant Jenna liked for anniversaries. A place we hadn't visited in a year. I drove. I didn't tell her I was coming. I parked across the street and watched through glass. Booths, low lights, couples pretending they were the only ones in the world. I scanned faces and found both I knew too well, Jenna and Ryan. No staff between them. No laptop on the table. 2 glasses, shared appetizers, her hand on the base of her glass while he talked like a man comfortable. He laughed, leaned in. She leaned too. My chest did that cold thing men don't talk about. I took photos. Not to post. To stop gaslighting myself with maybe I misread. I left before dessert. I didn't storm in. I wasn't the guy who makes a scene. I drove to Emily's townhouse because I knew Ryan worked late on Wednesdays and because I had something I refused to carry alone. She opened the door in a sweatshirt, hair twisted up, eyes curious. Hey, Mark. Everything okay? Where's Ryan right now? I asked, straightforward. At work, she said, confused. He's had these night deadlines. What? He's having dinner with Jenna, I told her. I took pictures 20 minutes ago. If you want to see, put shoes on. Emily froze, then laughed like I told a bad joke. You're messing with me. I wish, I said. I held my phone out. She stared too long. Her face lost color. Get your keys, I added. We can still catch dessert. She grabbed a coat, and we drove. The restaurant's front windows turned the people inside into silhouettes against amber light. Emily grabbed my forearm. Let's go in. Not tonight, I said. We'll get nothing but a scene and practice lines. We need either counsel or a record. I've got location on Jenna's phone. We track. We build a pattern. Then we decide whether to confront with leverage or exit clean. You knew where she was all week? Yeah, I said. This is the first time the dot wasn't the office. Emily swallowed. Ryan got her that job. Yeah. It makes too much sense, she whispered. I hate that it makes sense. We sat there, headlights off. We watched the door. We watched the lie breathe. When they walked out an hour later, side by side, not touching, Emily's grip turned to stone. Now, she asked. Not yet, I said. If they're that casual in public, there's a routine. Let's learn it. She nodded, trembling. Okay. We watch. We tell each other everything. Everything, I agreed. We did. The next 2 weeks were quiet in a loud way. Jenna started coming home earlier. She brought me a coffee one morning, the fancy kind she knows I like. She sent a photo from her office, smiling, eyes tired but soft. She asked about my day. Illusion number 2, warmth, dialed high enough to make a man doubt his conclusions. Meanwhile, Ryan posted long hours to Emily. Late night again, don't wait up. She told me when she saw it. We logged times. We compared notes. Nothing dramatic happened, which was dramatic by itself. Then Thursday hit like a hammer. The dot moved after 9. Not toward the restaurant. Not toward home. A highway exit I knew for cheap motels and a row of fast food places with terrible parking. The dot stopped at the end of a strip with neon that didn't deserve to be neon. I called Emily. Where's Ryan? He said he's going to meet Mike and Lucas, she said. Guys' night. What? Jenna's at a motel, I said. The kind no one brags about. I'm coming, Emily said. Don't, I told her. If he's there, they'll see your car. I'll handle this part. Handle how? Observation, I said. Then documentation. Then action. I parked where I could see the entrance without being seen from it. I waited 2 hours with the engine off. People came and went in pairs who avoided eye contact. At 11:30, Ryan's truck slid in. He killed his lights early. He got out, checked the reflection in his window, and pulled a hat low. I took photos. They went inside separately and emerged together around 1:30, talking close, faces relaxed in that private way I used to recognize at my own front door. They split to their cars and left in opposite directions. I sent the pictures to Emily. She didn't text back. She called, quiet and steady. We're done, she said. Yeah, I told her. Tomorrow, she asked. Attorney? 10 a.m., I said. I'll schedule. In the morning, Jenna made eggs again. She slid a plate across like we were normal. Tonight, I might be late, she said, eyes doing that half-apology thing. I've got an appointment at 10, I replied, buttering toast. If you want to join, you can't. It's not for 2. What appointment? Logistics, I said. I'll fill you in later. She frowned. I don't like vague. I don't like lying, I said, but I said it to the sink. She left with a sugary kiss on my cheek that felt like a coupon for something expired. At the attorney's office, Emily looked like she hadn't slept. The attorney, Miss Carter, was crisp and kind without being syrupy. She asked for timelines, evidence, goals. We gave her everything. She told us the options, the clean exits, the pressure points. I didn't want cartoon drama. I wanted clarity and consequences. When we stepped back into daylight, I'd made a decision that felt like cold water after a long run. I drove home to stage the house. Boxes, bags, labels, not trashing, relocating. Jenna's clothes, shoes, accessories. All neat, all respectful, all out. I set them in the spare room by the door. I was done being somebody's waiting room. Her car wasn't in the drive. It should have been. I texted, "Where are you? We need to talk." She read it and didn't answer. 10 minutes later, I'm with Emily on a little trip. I needed a break from work. Back Monday. Don't stress. My laugh had edges. I screenshot it and sent it to Emily. She rang immediately. He told me he went fishing with friends, she said, voice shaking from the insult more than the fact. He's with my wife, I said. They're betting on us playing dumb. Let's take a picture together, she said, words coming fast now. Send it to her with your location. Let them know the guessing game's over. On my porch in 20, I said. Emily stood under my eaves in a hoodie and jeans. We didn't hug. We didn't do theatrics. I held the phone out. We both stared into the lens like people who'd been handed the bill. I took the picture with location on, and I sent it to Jenna with a message. We know. Enjoy your weekend. Paperwork's moving. The read receipt popped. 10 seconds later, my phone rang. Jenna. I can explain, she started, words sprinting. This is a work trip, Mark. I didn't tell you because I knew you'd get jealous. A work trip to a motel off Route 9 at 1 in the morning? I cut her off. Dinner dates with your boss? Spare me. That was a one-off dinner about staffing. The motel isn't what you think. Ryan and I left at 1:30 and drove opposite directions. I said, do you see how silly the lies sound next to timestamps? Emily is blowing this up, she snapped. She's always been threatened by me. Emily's here, I said, and handed the phone over. Emily didn't raise her voice. She didn't need to. Don't use my name to cover your weekend, she told Jenna. Don't use my husband to cover your hours. We're done being your alibi. If you had an ounce of honesty left, you'd admit how cheap this story is. I watched Emily's face while she listened. She handed my phone back, eyes hard. Jenna tried soft again. Mark, please. We messed up. I stopped her. Your things will be at your parents'. Don't come to my house. We are finished. She went quiet long enough to think of a script, then tried another. You're overreacting. I'm setting a standard, I answered and ended the call. I blocked her number. I blocked Ryan's. Then I texted her mother a polite note that her daughter's belongings would be on their porch by evening and that I wished them all health. Emily exhaled like a weight had let go of her back. That was clean. People like us, I said. We confuse clean with cruel. It's not. Can I stay here tonight? She asked, then shook her head. No. Bad idea. I'm going to my parents'. Pack a bag. I'll be okay. You're welcome here if you need a couch and bad coffee, I told her. No strings. She gave me a look that said she understood what I meant and what I didn't. Thank you, she said and left. I called the guys. Nate showed up with pizza and sarcasm. Dave brought beer and stories that didn't require me to carry them. We sat in the yard by the grill as the sun went down and the air turned light for the first time in a month. So, Nate said, chewing, you going to do the dramatic movie line when she returns for a suitcase? She's not returning here, I said. Locks change tonight. We laughed. Not cruel. Relieved. Dave slapped my shoulder. Proud of you, man. Don't be proud, I said. Be useful. Carry boxes. We loaded Jenna's things into my truck and drove to her parents' place. I rang the bell and stepped back. Her mother opened the door, looked at the bags, and didn't ask questions she didn't want answers to. We'll keep them safe, she said quietly. Thank you, I replied. I appreciate you. At home, I swapped the deadbolt. It was practical, not symbolic. I slept alone in the big bed, not because I was dramatic, but because I'd paid for it, and I was tired. The next morning, neighbor Mrs. Alvarez met me at the mailbox. You look lighter, she said. Diet of decisions, I told her. Keep eating, she said, and went back to her roses. By Monday, Jenna texted from a new number. I didn't open it. She sent an email. I forwarded it to Ms. Carter with no commentary. I wasn't spending any more heartbeats translating excuses. I used my time for work, for customers who paid on the day they said they would, for friends who didn't make me negotiate for simple respect. At the office Tuesday, I did my foreign territory boundary. Ryan showed up with another manager for a vendor meeting we both attended quarterly. He spotted me in the conference room and hesitated. Good. Emily came too. Cheeks set, posture straight. The manager made small talk. Ryan tried for normal. Mark, he said, hand half extended. How's business? Efficient, I replied, not shaking his hand. We're sticking to agreements now. The manager glanced between us. Emily looked at the table. Ryan opened his mouth, closed it, and sat. I took notes, asked precise questions, signed where it made sense, and left first. That was the entire point of the boundary. No scene, no smile, no enabling of the old script. That night, Jenna did the second soft routine, turned up louder. Flowers on the porch. A basket with snacks I used to like. A card. I miss us. Let's talk. I took a photo for my records, then set the basket on the step with a sticky note. Return to sender. I moved on with my evening. Dinner with Nate and his wife. They kept conversation mundane, which is the kindest thing a couple can do when your own has imploded. Jenna didn't try the porch again. She tried mutual friends. She tried our dentist. "How's Mark holding up?" she asked at her cleaning, and 2 days later the hygienist asked me the same like it was a recipe. I smiled and said, "Better than expected," and that was all anyone got. The paperwork moved. Ms. Carter kept me updated without fluff. I slept like a human again. 2 Thursdays after the motel, Jenna decided to test the fence with one last lie, late and bold. A mutual acquaintance sent me a photo from a resort 2 states over. Jenna and Ryan by a pool, hats low. Faces turned away but bodies familiar. The caption read, "Work retreat," with a winking emoji. I didn't take the bait. I texted nothing. I emailed nothing. I made one phone call to the locksmith to make sure the side garage door was on the same key. Then came the day I'd planned for, the practical finish. I met Ms. Carter, signed my end, and drove home to send my final message because endings deserve clarity. I walked through rooms that looked like rooms again instead of staging for a ghost. I texted Jenna one sentence. "Your access ends today." I added a photo of her mailbox at her parents' house with a small box on top, spare keys, random items, an old watch of hers, a note inside that said, "Done." She tried to call from yet another number. I didn't pick up. Instead, I sent one last text, the same as I told her on the porch day, but now with paperwork. "We're finished. Don't come here." If there's a lesson in any of this, it's not about paranoia or tracking apps or how many signs you need before you admit you're being treated like an optional chore. It's about the standard you set for yourself and what you tolerate once you spot the slipping. My mistake was waiting for kindness to return on its own. My fix was acting like my own life mattered even when the person who vowed to treat it like it mattered started using tired as camouflage. The weeks after were quiet in that new house way. I cleaned the garage and found wrenches I thought I'd lost. Nate and I rebuilt a carb on a Saturday. I bought a used truck that didn't whine at highway speed. My business picked up because my brain had room again. I cooked for one, and it didn't feel sad. It felt like accuracy. Emily and I didn't force anything. We sent each other names of attorneys for the others we knew would need them. We met for coffee when logistics required it. When the big forms were done, we got tacos at the place on Elm because they do them right, and because the staff didn't know us as couples. We laughed exactly twice. Once at a story about Ryan claiming he hated the beach while clearly sunburnt. Once when Emily said, "I forgot I could sleep before midnight." "You doing okay?" I asked as we left the restaurant. "I'm not crying over people who chose themselves," she said. "I'll survive." "You'll do better than survive," I said. "You'll enjoy things again." She squinted at me. "You too." On a Sunday, my buddy Dave helped me move a new grill into the yard. "Housewarming gift," he said, "even though it's the same house." "It's not the same house," I told him. We christened it with burgers and too many onions. The noise in my head had quieted enough that I heard birds again. That's how peace sneaks back in, through little details that used to register and then didn't. My phone stopped being a source of dread. It became a tool again. News about Jenna filtered the way news travels in small circles. She moved into a small rental near her parents. Ryan's firm shifted her onto a different team after complications with reporting structure. People said it with that HR tone that hides more than it reveals. I didn't celebrate. I didn't gloat. I just noted the shift. Control is a funny thing. It evaporates when you stop believing in it. I ran into Emily at the hardware store a month later. We compared notes on paint and light fixtures. She laughed when I told her the shade I picked made my living room look like a dentist's office. "Try the warmer one," she said. "You'll hate it less at night." I bought it. She was right. When her papers were final, we had dinner again. Not a date. A marker. She looked lighter around the mouth. "Crazy how normal life feels when the nonsense stops," she said. "Normal is underrated," I told her. "Stop by next weekend," she added. "Dad's fixing the deck. He could use your eye." "Done," I said. I don't know where Jenna vacations now or who brings her coffee in the morning. I know my house is clean, my truck starts, my contracts get signed, and when someone tells me they'll be there, they are. I know I'm not going to negotiate for basic respect ever again. If someone wants to run exhausted, like a smokescreen, they can do it on their own sidewalk. The last thing I told Jenna was the last thing that needed saying. There's a mercy in that kind of finality. People think the win is making the other person suffer. It isn't. The win is you living without the nonsense they brought into your kitchen every night and called just a phase. I sleep in my bed. I rest. I pay the mortgage on time. Friends drop by without checking if the emotional weather is bad. Emily's deck doesn't squeak anymore. She smiles straight at me without asking my phone for proof of where I am. The grill turns out better meals than any restaurant where two people think they're invisible. That's the story. No dramatic speeches. No bargaining. Just a man who decided he wasn't going to be told, "I'm tired," like it was a spell, and who answered with the only thing that ends spells: reality and a locked door.